Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is Mixtress Ray. You're watching another Unfair Comparisons video. I just want to briefly show you, I do have a candle because I always have to have one, but actually I can have it over here. Okay, I thought I wasn't going to be able to actually have the candle in the shot. Okay, I need to be able to position myself so that I can see what's happening here. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. My table's too big. Okay. First of all, can you see everything? Yes. Kind of. Hold, please. Okay. I just switched to a much smaller table so I can get, so that I can get as up close and personal with these cards as you are right now. And this table is slightly more stable for me to lean on. Okay, so I did a poll to see which, I have several different, I'm pretty drawn to fairy tale type decks, especially darker fairy tale type decks. So I just bought the Dark Wood Tarot. I had no idea it was a kind of a quick decision for me. Normally I don't buy decks super quickly, but I just kind of became enchanted with it and bought it, and here it is. So let's get into it. This is the one that was overwhelmingly voted, 65% of you or something voted to have me compare Darkwood Tarot to Children of Litha. So that's what we're doing today. As far as comparisons of price, let's just get into that kind of more trivial shit in the beginning before we just look at the imagery. So with Children of Litha, this is an independently published deck from Alexandria Huntington, and this is super great quality, thick, buttery matte cardstock, difficult to shuffle, and it probably costs about $45 plus shipping, US dollars. Don't quote me on that, but it's around that. It is edged in black. It comes that way. The Darkwood Tarot is mass produced. It is by Llewellyn Publishing. It's thinner cardstock. It's semi-gloss, but not too glossy. Very easy to shuffle. And this one you can find for it just came out, so it's it'll probably get cheaper. You could probably find it for $20 or less in another couple of months or so, I would assume. But right now it's $25-ish, $30, I think. The suggested retail price is $31.99. This one comes with a pretty big, thick, full color guidebook. This one comes with, oh, hold on. Okay, I have it right here. I'm trying to remember if her guidebook is color. It is. It's pretty, you've got a page for each in the Children of Litha guidebook. Both come with magnetic flip box. The Children of Litha box is about the size of the cards. The Darkwood Tarot is that standard. I can't get it all in the frame. Huge box. And again, just to show you really quick, I guess, even though I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing in this shot. This is the guidebook for Darkwood Tarot. There's huge full page illustrations of the cards, which is really great because the artwork is pretty detailed in Darkwood Tarot. Okay, let's get to the card by card comparison. They are, I am very drawn to this type of imagery, but I might even just really settle in right now. You guys know how long this video is. I have edged these in red, so you'll see it bled pretty bad whenever I edged them. So you can see all the bleeding on the cards, but I don't mind because it kind of looks like blood smudges, and I feel like that kind of works with the aesthetic of this particular deck. So let's just take it in. Okay. So this one just really reminds me of some Aurora Sleeping Beauty action, you know? And she's got this sort of phoenix type bird that she's reaching for. I do really love that this fool has holy socks. For some reason, I'm super into that. I like that she has all these animal companions. So she has a spider, a fox, and a black cat. I really enjoy that. They're both holding roses. But she doesn't look like she has anything. She doesn't have like a satchel. She's not bringing anything with her unless it's hidden in her skirts somewhere. With Children of Litha, you get a lot more shape-shifting energy. Whereas with Darkwood Tarot, it's more like traditional, like witches and vampires and that kind of like more traditional mythological imagery, if that makes sense. Whereas with Children of Litha, there's a lot of like shapeshifters that I've never seen before. Like this is some sort of like dragonfly crustacean or something. It's very interesting, like spider boy magician. Children of Litha is one of the most unique decks I've ever seen in my life, honestly. But Darkwood Tarot has that sort of more classic, gothic. Both of them have like kind of like the artwork does remind me in both of these decks, which is why I actually secretly, this is the one I wanted to do the most. So it was awesome that you guys agreed with me and you voted this one. Both of them kind of have this like darker view of, like the artwork reminds me of like Disney but darker in both of these decks. I like that we get kind of an older androgynous looking magician here, and you get the lilies and the roses, and you also get the lilies and the roses here. So you've got traditional RWS aspects to imagery. I do like Darkwood Tarot employs a lot of animals in this deck, which I really enjoy. There's a lot of animals in this deck too, but the animals in this deck are pretty much relegated to the pip cards for the most part, whereas in this deck they are kind of as companions in most of the cards in general. I love this like octopus high priestess, and there's a little bit of nudity in this deck. There's more in this deck, I would say, but there is some in Darkwood Tarot as well. That's not a thing. I don't normally even like, it's like I register that there's nudity, but it doesn't, like, I don't know, it's not something that I like look for or am upset by. Actually, when I see nudity in a deck, I'm usually happy about it, but it's not something that I think that much about, if that makes sense. You still get the like pillars in both of these cards. They're trees. You get a real forest witch vibe. This is, I would say that this is an earthier deck. Darkwood is an earthier deck, which makes sense because dark wood. Children of Litha is much more diverse. Like there's a couple of figures in Darkwood Tarot, like 5 cards in total, maybe, that like have like maybe a little bit more than 5 or 10 cards total in this deck that have people with darker skin tones, and they kind of read as Romani in a lot of cases, but that's really, and there's one king that looks kind of Asian in Darkwood, but the Children of Litha is much more diverse. And there's not really size diversity in either of these decks. There's not really age diversity in either of these decks. They're all pretty much young, but this one is much more racially diverse. Like you got the pomegranate. I like that this Empress has a book. I like that because, like, you know, sort of like knowledge being a part of the Empress imagery is not normally a part of the imagery, but I like that it is in this one. I love any deck that the Emperor is an animal, because I feel like the Emperor card can really, I feel like until we're out of the patriarchy, which will we ever be, the Emperor is reversed for us collectively. So until the Emperor can display itself in everyday life, in its upright form, I don't even really want to see a man in the Emperor card. That's just me though. This Emperor card is particularly upsetting because of the animal slaughter that is happening here. It bothers me a lot, and I'm really glad that Alexandria Huntington is she's creating a deck for each season, and they're all going to have the same backs and the same cardstock and the same like theming of the oval and the border and stuff, so that way you can buy her other decks and you can switch out cards to make. So I'm looking forward to how she will depict the Emperor in her other 3 decks, so that I can switch this card out, because as soon as I can, I will, because this card bugs me. Love this like tree lady with the scroll and the keys, and you've got a snake, and like you've got these little turtles and all these scrolls back here. There's a lot of symbolism in this deck that I haven't quite sorted through yet. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen the turtles, just now. So this is interesting, like Shadowscapes Tarot, which is also from Llewellyn Publishing. There's a lot of detail in Shadowscapes as well that I kind of wish the cards were slightly bigger, and I get that same vibe from this deck. I kind of wish the cards were slightly bigger because there's so much detail in them. These are similar, right? I feel like most likely, and I didn't say, Darkwood Tarot, art is by Abigail Larson, and the guidebook is written by Sasha Graham. The guidebook is really interesting too. Like, I'm finding it, like, I have a lot of tarot guidebooks and I have a lot of tarot like books in general, but this one is really interesting, and it follows you through, it takes you through the like fool's journey. They call her the Shadow Witch in this guidebook. It's really worth it. I'm really enjoying diving into the guidebook. I wouldn't be surprised to find that Abigail Larson was inspired by Children of Litha. But, I mean, it's not like it's uncommon to see people having sex in the Lover's card, you know? I'm not super into, like, Eagle as a Chariot. I don't know, just being that this is a more Gothic-themed deck, I would have rather seen, like, a crow or an owl or just a more Gothic bird than an eagle. Not that eagles can't be goth, too. I like seeing the, seeing a snake in the Strength card. This is one of the figures that to me kind of reads as Romani, but this is about as dark as a skin tone gets in the Darkwood Tarot. If you're looking for diversity, you're not going to find it in Darkwood Tarot, which I'm a little disappointed by. I wasn't planning to get any more. Like I told you guys, I wasn't going to get any more decks that didn't have a decent amount of diversity in them, and then I bought this deck, so it's like I've already fucked up on my own promise that I made to myself and to you, so I apologize for that. But I probably will only use this deck for personal readings, unless, like I said, if you guys do order, like I've said before, if you guys do order a reading from me, just let me know any particular deck that you want me to use. I will use it if you request it. But this one I will probably keep to myself unless someone requests it, just because it's not very diverse. Love this, by the way. Oh my god, love it so much. This one, another thing that's really cool about Alexandria Huntington, her website, you can order full-size prints of any of the major arcana from this deck. And, I mean full-size, they're like 8x10, 5x7. I think they're not quite 8x, I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but they're big, like altar size cards that you can, they're like postcards, but they're bigger than postcards. Or maybe they're not, I don't know. They're bigger and they're high quality and you can order. I ordered the Hermit for myself and it's gorgeous. I like the Red Riding Hood vibe going on here too. But man, I mean, if we're comparing these two cards, this one is just leagues above. I like the green energy and her like sort of tribal forest tattoos and her horns and her goat legs and everything. I love it. Love the shape-shifting vibe in Children of Litha. I love these little imp guys too. They're so cute. They show up in other points in the deck too. This is an interesting justice. I get it. I think I get it. I do. This one I love, 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 except again, the animal slaughter seems like the blood and animal slaughter is a theme in this deck that it's one of the only things that bothers me about the imagery in this deck. So again, I'm excited to see if that will evolve and change with her other season themed decks that she's going to come out with, because I could easily just switch those cards out. But everything else I love about this. The fact that she has the heart against the feather. She's got some real Ma'at vibes. I like her like ostrichness. Like, yeah. And this one's interesting. Interesting that it's the supplicants or the people coming to her for judgment that are the ones that are blind instead of her. I like both of these, even though they're totally different. You know, you've got mermaid. This is one of the most beautiful mermaids ever, too. I love it when a mermaid tail has all these extra little fins and stuff. I don't know. I just love that. And I love that she has other fins. She's got armpit fins, you guys. I mean, who doesn't want armpit fins? Sounds good to me. I like that she's got the bat vibes and she also has the bat right next to her. Just so cute. I kind of want to zoom in on that bat. Let me find the bat from the guidebook so we can zoom in on the bat a little bit. Just so you guys can see the bat in all of its glory. Okay, I'm gonna stand up so I can see what you guys see here. Look at him. Oh my god, he's so cute. Okay. Sorry, I had to. Sorry, this is going to be like a super long video because I am really interested in comparing these. Love both of these. There's so much to like. She's got an hourglass and a huge fuck off sickle. I don't even know how you would wield a thing that huge. Oh my god. And it's like, oh. Yeah, and it's got some real emotional ramifications too, because I feel like this angel has tried to protect this little girl, but her time is still up, even though she's so young. You get what everyone gets. You get a lifetime. So it really brings some emotional gravity to the death card. That, yeah. And I like this, she's floating, so she's sort of like submerging or she's drowning. Either way, this is sort of the evolution. I feel like this creature died to make room for this one, you know? I'm getting Ursula vibes too with this. With the shape of the crown. And I'm just getting, you know, that moment at the end of Little Mermaid when she puts the crown on, she becomes huge and she's got that awesome Ursula laugh. And you just see her with, oh, yes. Maleficent vibes in this Temperance. And I absolutely... I mean, this is the card that, like, I felt like I dreamed about, like, before I ordered this deck and while I was waiting for it to get here. This is the deck that this is the card that I just, like, couldn't get out of my mind. It made me so happy. And to me, this is Jasmine, you know, from Aladdin. She is inextricably linked to her soulmate, her tiger, you know? I don't know. I just love that. This is the Page of Swords. You'll see later when we get to the Page of Swords. And it actually says that in the guidebook. Page of Swords is up against the devil. And I like this too. This is a good interpretation of the devil, I think. Here we get some more Maleficent vibes over here. I kind of wish that this card, that the red was green, just because I want it to be Maleficent so bad. It just, that's what it is to me. And this tower is pretty traditional. I like all of the bats. I love this. I love seeing just like a gothic interpretation of the star. I mean, I guess the figure herself doesn't look particularly gothic, but just the fact that it's a night, it's a nighttime star card, the fact that there are bats everywhere, super into that. Super into that. This one doesn't super vibe with me. It never really has. So, again, that's one that I'm looking forward to if it... I'm looking forward to her future decks, because I will probably buy all of her future decks, to be honest. I might like one of the other star cards a little bit better. I like this sort of more positive interpretation of the moon card. Like, she's the one. She's that, like, shadowy figure emerging from the water. I like that. I can work with that. Because I don't like seeing the moon card as being a bad card. Because for me, I've always kind of felt more comfortable once nighttime gets here. I've always felt more comfortable. This one's really interesting, though. You can kind of get in there and, like, there's so many of these little, like, dark foxes or wolves or coyotes or whatever they are. There's so many of these spirits, you know? It's like a Where's Waldo, where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's at least 13 of them. Very interesting. And this, I think, is the only card in Children of Litha that depicts a dragon where I think we're supposed to think that this dragon is the good guy. Every other dragon in this deck is being slain or, yeah, being slain or has already been slain, you know? Or it's like, you know, terrorizing something, like in the Tower card. This is one of my favorite sun cards of all time. It might be my actual favorite sun card of all time, because Bast is pretty important to me, and this is very clearly Bast, who is a sun goddess. This one's good. I have no problems with it. The only thing that slightly bugs me is that she's doing side saddle, because it just looks like she's not stable on that horse. It just distracts me that, like, she looks like she's gonna fall off, you know? These are both interesting interpretations of judgment cards, I think. Like, I like the idea of she's about to be born into vampirism right now, you know? She's about to awaken to, like, a different aspect of herself. Which is just a cool... I've never thought of viewing the judgment card that way, so I kind of like that. This one, I just want to show you, this is very clearly a progression of the same character, going from the Fool to the World. She still has her fox and her cat and her spider. She has gained a lizard, though. I kind of wish there was a lizard in this card, because everybody else is there, you know? That's just me, though. And then this, I mean, come on. This gorgeous fawn forest energy is everything. Oh my god, you know what? I'm realizing for the first time, I've had this deck for over a year. You've got, like, this Triskelion right here. And you've got a lion face here and like a ram right there. Holy fuck. Okay, so there's more happening up here maybe? That is cool. I've never noticed that before. I always noticed like this little spiral in the background, but I never noticed that there was a lion, a triskelion, and a ram right there. The ram is kind of like morphing into a horse. Okay. Okay, so you've got that like sort of those 4 fixed signs that you usually have in the world card, and I never noticed that they were there before. Oh my god. That is cool. I'm a super like fan of like hands. I don't know what the thing is with hands. I love hands. I love any cards that depict a hand coming out of a cloud. So I'm like kind of a traditionalist when it comes to like ace cards, just because I love looking at hands so much. I like that sort of simple imagery of, you know, the hand of the divine offering you the tool that you need for that suit. I like that. That said, the aces are pretty cool in Children of Litha. Love the witchy vibe here in the Two of Wands. It's so beautiful. I love her little satchel and the fact that she's wearing just like, I like the clothing in this deck a lot. It tends to like skew a little medieval looking, which normally bugs me, but the way that Abigail Larson does it in this deck, it looks kind of tattered and worn in and just real to me. So I like it. So here's where we get into, now that we're finally 30 minutes in, getting into the pip cards in Children of Litha. They are all animals. The aces and the court cards are the only ones that depict humans in the minor arcana. I am going to trim this wick really quick because it's getting a little crazy. I know I'm dangerous. I'm always trimming my wicks while they're burning. I know I shouldn't be doing that. Okay. I hope you guys are okay with like a super fucking long video because I'm really into this. Thank you guys for picking this one. Love the vampire vibes. This Darkwood Tarot, so far, I mean, I've only had it like a little over, no, I think I got it exactly a week ago today. So I've had it a week. I feel about this deck the way that I wanted to feel about Tarot of Vampires. This deck, for some reason, and no shade, if you love Tarot of Vampires, I know a lot of really cool people love that deck. And that deck definitely has depth to it. But I found that deck, I felt victimized by it, just like in a sexist, misogynist kind of way. I didn't like the depictions of the women in it, and it bothered me a lot, so I had to pass it on. But the way that I wanted to feel about it is how I'm feeling about Darkwood Tarot. It's like the hole that was left in the way that I wanted to feel about Tarot of Vampires, if that makes sense, is filled for me with Darkwood Tarot. So hopefully that resonates with one of you guys too. This one I still don't know exactly how to feel about. I even read the guidebook definition and it didn't really read to me how this is Four of Wands, because this is supposed to be like a troll. When I first saw the image, I thought maybe this is Frankenstein's monster. And it's supposed to be about like a journey and a bridge and like getting from one place to the next, and sometimes the bridge is blocked, and like I'm just not sure how to synthesize that into how I normally feel about Four of Wands. Like this is much more Four of Wands to me. This sort of like Lion King family going on here makes more sense as Four of Wands in my opinion. But like I said, I've only had this deck a week. There's those cute little imp guys again. I like them. They make me happy. And I love that this is kind of like Five of Wands being sort of like a petty conflict or like a smaller conflict than it, like you're making a bigger deal out of something than you need to. This tells says that to me, because these cute little imp guys are like fighting over this mushroom or whatever. And, you know, this world is very small. You know, this mushroom's only like 2 or 3 inches tall. So it conveys Five of Wands well to me. I like this card a lot. The theming in Children of Litha is very strong. Like the wands are all, the pip cards wands are all cats. The pip cards in the cups are all like water creatures. The pip cards in the swords are all, what are they, like predatory creatures? They're all birds. They're all like creatures of the sky, so like birds and butterflies and stuff. And then you get all like forest earth creatures in the Pentacles. I like it when, like, if you're gonna go for like themes, if you're consistent within those themes, it makes me very happy. This is an interesting Six of Wands because it's in the middle of the night, you know, it's all in subdued grays. The only color here besides like gray, black, and white is in this little baby. So it's an interesting interpretation of Six of Wands. I kind of like it. I like this whole fighting the spirits of the forest and Seven of Wands. I guess they're not all cats, but they're all predatory creatures in the wands, which is interesting to me. And each of the suits corresponds to a season in Children of Litha as well. So you've got summer in the wands, I think spring in the cups, and fall in the swords, and then winter in the pentacles. This one doesn't have like super strong theming like that. I'm just pointing it out in Litha because it's definitely a thing. And her themes, Alexandria Huntington's themes in Children of Litha are very strong. Perfect cheetah for Eight of Wands, right? This one is kind of like, what is happening? I like the mermaid, she is beautiful, but how is this Eight of Wands? I'm not sure. Haven't gotten there yet. This one bugs me. It's just like, I don't know, it's just too creepy for me. Like this serial killer that is beckoning you. No, I don't like that. I don't like it. It's one of the only cards in Darkwood that I'm just like super, like, nope, don't like it. This one like conveys Ten of Wands. I mean, like, this cat has just killed something that is very hard for her to drag up the tree. I get it. But again, animal slaughter, like, I shouldn't be so uncomfortable with it because, you know, this is the Wild Kingdom. This is how it goes. This is one of my favorite Page of Wands of all time because to me this looks like Sanaya, the first Slayer in, like, I'm a super Buffy nerd, so this looks to me like Sanaya. And Page of Wands to me, like when I was first learning tarot, the way that I connected to Page of Wands was, oh, Page of Wands is Buffy. Page of Wands is a Slayer. Page of Wands is the chosen one. So seeing something that to me looks like Sanaya, who is the first ever Slayer, and the fact that she has a hyena as her companion, that makes sense to me in my headcanon of Buffy, of the Buffyverse. Totally makes sense. I love how, like, she's like a gothic elf vampire or something, too. So that's also cute. Really, the only men that you see in Darkwood Tarot are the Knights and Kings. And that's really it. That magician character, I guess we can go back to him really quick. This looks androgynous to me just because it's an older figure and people kind of look older when they're, kind of look androgynous when they're older. So that's really the only Oh, and the man in the, so there's the man in the Lovers card, there's that ambiguous, gender ambiguous magician, and then the Knights and Kings are the only other males in Darkwood Tarot. Children of Litha too, the language in the court cards is gender neutral, which I really like. And you can even see, like, it's very even. Like, they read as, like, this looks like a female knight to me. But, you know, you'll see male knights too in the court cards. The kings are all, like, pretty obviously male looking, and the queens are pretty obviously female looking, but the, again, let me make sure that's true of all the court cards. I know in the pages and knights, the gender language is neutral. Yeah, it's neutral in all of them. So like Queen of Swords is a mature feminine energy who has no tolerance for deceit and no patience, blah, 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 blah. They are likely to examine. So gender neutral language throughout the guidebook for all the court cards. Is that true of the major arcana too? No, there's gendered language in the major arcana. But obviously, like, I didn't even point out. Let's go back to the Lovers card. This is like, what is that, Kelly from The Truth and Story? Like, I'm doing a deep dive like she does today, guys. Okay. Like, one of the things that I really love about this Lovers card, and it's my soul card too, so I'm always like looking for a great Lovers card, is that these characters are gender ambiguous. Like, you can see that the person on top is more feminine, but you could see these both as male. You could see these both as female. You can see it however you want to see it. And I love that about this card. I can't believe I didn't even mention that when we got there. Of course, I've done flip throughs of this deck before and I said it in that, but one thing, again, that kind of disturbs me about the Knight cards, every single Knight card in this deck, again, thematically consistent. They're either currently slaying a dragon or they've already slain one. And it's just a little disturbing to me. Don't love the Knights in this deck because they're just traditional dudes in like medieval garb, which is really not my thing. Oh my god, look at this Queen of Wands. Is she perfect or is she fucking perfect? Look at her. It's always important to me to see a black cat in the Queen of Wands card, so present in both of these. I love a witchy vibe for the Queen of Wands, so she's pretty cool too, but she just cannot match for me and all of the court cards in Children of Litha too, just speaking of like being consistent, they depict a particular group of people consistent within that suit. So I'm not sure like what region we're going for here, but this is obviously a warrior race in the Wands, which makes total sense. And you get some good, like, you know, astrological energy too with the animal companions. There's always animal companion. Is there an animal? There's an animal companion in every single court card in Children of Litha, I'm pretty sure. Obviously with the Knights it's a horse every time, but you've got isn't King of Wands a Leo? Yes, King of Wands is a Leo card, so that makes total sense that he would have a lion. It's just I just love all the symbolism that Alexandria Huntington has used for her deck. Oh my god, I'm so in love with this Ace of Cups. It's kind of confusing to me that there's a pentacle in this card, and I don't love the branding. Just for me, like, I don't love that, you know, the D and the W are on the back of the cards. I just don't love that, you know? I don't need the name of the deck to be in my face, you know? This is gorgeous too, though. She's a water spirit. It's very fae energy. There's definitely not really fae energy going on with the Darkwood Tarot. There's probably a few figures that have fairy type wings. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of one specifically. And let's not start over. This video's already gonna be so fucking long, you guys. But I love seeing a crow, really, crow slash raven, whatever. I still don't know the difference. I love seeing that pretty much anywhere. Another tick in the diversity column of, or against the diversity column of Darkwood Tarot. You don't have any, all the energy is heterosexual in Darkwood Tarot. However, I do really like having an animal in the Two of Cups. So you could see, if you wanted to, you could see these two horses as being a homosexual couple. You could, if you wanted to. I do love it. I love both of these. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Love 3 black cats for the Three of Cups. I mean, it's more of a fire energy, just in general, but that's okay. This is a witchy deck. Darkwood is a witchy deck. So fire is always welcome in a witchy deck. And I have a lot more fire in my chart than water, so just in particular, I'm not super drawn to water imagery, and I have a problem processing my emotions. Go figure. I need more water in my chart. That's why I married a water sign, apparently, because I needed someone to confront me with their emotions, so I married a Knight of Cups, pretty much. Again, super consistent, all water creatures. And the cups. The cups are, it's interesting because the cups are almost exclusively in Darkwood Tarot animals. However, that's not the case in the other suits. So, like, I like it, but again, it's not as internally thematically consistent as Children of Litha is, that I keep saying. I love this, though. That's gorgeous to me. And I like that, like, Abigail Larson took the time to make the cups different. Like, I also love that they're consistently the same in this deck, but I like that she, you know, these are different cups. They're slightly different. I don't know, they look more handmade. This deck looks like it's from another time. There's a lot to, like, think about with this. She's feeding her baby. And like, when you're raising children, I haven't done that myself, but I would assume raising children helps you reconnect to your own childhood, because you see that sort of, like, growth and wonder through your child's eyes, I would assume. And this one works for me because, like, dolphins were a part of my, like, child symbolism. I don't know, because my mom has always really resonated with dolphin imagery. So it does literally remind me of my childhood to see dolphins. Love this, like, flotsam and jetsam vibe. And this is the only cup pip card that has a human figure in it in Darkwood Tarot. I really like it, though. She's got the cups behind her, and she's, like, distracted by the bats. It's interesting. Interesting symbolism. Gorgeous. Both of these are so gorgeous. It's a really subdued color palette in Darkwood Tarot, but it's like almost everything is like black, gray. Even like black is actually like scarce, because usually something that reads as black is really just dark gray. Like these branches are really just super dark gray and olive green and like pops of red here and there. But for the most part, this is a very subdued color palette, which is interesting because I'm not normally attracted to subdued color palette. So love this. I'm not even like an octopus person. Usually octopuses bug me. Octopuses usually bug me, but this one, like that self-satisfied look that you get from the figure on the Rider-Waite-Smith Nine of Cups, you totally get that with this octopus, right? I think so. And I get the, like, idea of, like, your cat thinks that they're, like, making all your dreams come true when they bring you a dead bird. That's what that makes me think of. So it works. Ten of Cups is my card of the month, and this fucking Ten of Cups, you guys, like, I still can't get over it. This card slayed me from the first moment I saw it, and I just, like, the color palette and the love happening between these narwhals, I can't even take it. It makes me so happy I want to cry. And I love a wolf pack, so this is a great version of Ten of Cups as well. And I mean, just look at those fucking colors. I just can't. Really like this Page of Cups. She kind of, to me, looks a little like Fiona Apple, even though she has like a slightly darker complexion, but she looks like a young elfish Fiona Apple with darker skin. I don't know. And I can definitely, I view Fiona Apple as being either a hermit or Page of Cups, or both, honestly. So this is a really beautiful Page of Cups. I don't love the outfit happening here, basically just because for me, white and gold doesn't do it for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing a different Page of Cups in one of her future decks. Knight of Cups is, like I said, my Michael. So I'm always, like, super critical of a Knight of Cups. This one's great. I love this Knight of Cups. And this one's not, like, overly bloody because the dragon's already been slain in this particular Knight card. But this is just, this guy's too smarmy for me. I know there's a little bit of a smarminess to a Knight of Cups, but that's too much for me. Like, I'm not about this smarmy guy. I know a lot of people probably would be, though. This Queen of Cups with her seal companion. She is so enchanting to me. I love her. And I like that, like, I like a mermaid Queen of Cups, just in general. And I like that, you know, her, like, dress or shawl or whatever it is covering her. So you can imagine her as a mermaid if you want, or not. She might not be, but she could be. This Queen of Cups bugs me, and I'm not going to tell you who this reminds me of, but it reminds me of an actress that is not well thought of these days. She's not a good person, pretty objectively. I think that's true. So I'm not going to tell you who it reminds me of because I can't unsee it, and I don't want that to be the case for you. But I'm just telling you, it reminds me of an actress that I don't like, and I don't want to have that association with the Queen of Cups. So I just don't enjoy that card, just for personal reasons. I love a gothic King of Cups. Like, that's kind of what I'm looking for in a King of Cups. I want him to present as gothic. This guy totally does. This guy, not so much. I don't hate him, but again, the medieval garb doesn't work for me. Just doesn't. And I love this, like, gorgeous walrus. He's so happy. He loves his King of Cups. God, this video is going to take 1,000 years to upload. Not to complain, because I'm really enjoying it, and I hope that you are too. But I'm just saying, the struggle is real for upload times. Like, I can't imagine, like, Kelly from Truth and Story with her, like, 3-hour videos, 2.5, 3-hour videos. They probably take, like, 6 or 7 hours to upload, honestly. Maybe more. Apparently I don't have anything to say about that Ace of Swords. Not super in love with either of these. 2 of Swords is kind of an important card for me because it's a Libra card. 2 and 3 and 4 of Swords are Libra cards. And I'm Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra in like 6 of my other planets. So I'm very fucking Libra. I'm getting a little, like, I get that this is the traditional interpretation of Three of Swords. Almost, I would say probably like 9 out of 10 decks that I have, probably more like 19 out of 20 decks that I have a very similar imagery for Three of Swords. And I'm just kind of like, I'd like to see a different interpretation of Three of Swords in future decks. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Does it always have to be piercing the heart? Can we see it differently, maybe? I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't see it differently, but just wondering. Love that. The lunar moth, the like, is that supposed to be a morning glory? I always wonder that. Let me look it up. Since I'm being thorough today, apparently. Let's look it up. Four of Swords. Lunar moth rests upon a skull. Yep, morning glory. Yes. I like it. I like morning, because morning glory you would normally not see in sort of this sense of like death and rest and all of that. Morning glory is kind of the hopeful element of the symbolism in this card, but I just love it so much. I don't really like this one. This one's just a little too predatory for me. I mean, she's got her sword at least, so if he tries to fucking kiss her, maybe she can just slice his head right off, because he's definitely not trustworthy. Okay. I'm okay with it now because I know she's going to cut his head off in a second. That's fine. Five of Swords. I haven't really parsed out how I feel about this Five of Swords. One woman sticking swords in the back of another woman. That's not how I generally view Five of Swords. This one doesn't really do it for me either, to be honest. Okay, I see Five of Swords as being a self-sabotage card, kind of like the minor arcana version of the devil. That's how I see Five of Swords. So this could kind of make sense, whereas this woman is torturing another woman. So it's kind of like internalized misogyny. I could see it as internalized misogyny, which could work for me. Okay, all right. That's why I do these videos, children, because I realize things that I feel about these cards only when I do this for you guys. So thank you for that. Metamorphosis as Six of Swords, that makes sense. This one's kind of confusing to me just because it's ambiguous, and it actually, in the guidebook, it lists it as ambiguous. Like, it asks the question, like, do you feel like this person is stealing this person's baby, or do you think that this person is taking back her baby rightfully from that person? Either way, neither of these people look like bad people to me, so it just kind of confuses me as far as like the way that I normally would interpret Six of Swords. I still think it's a beautiful image though. And again, one of the only like non-white person in this deck. This one's interesting too, because it's like Little Red Riding Hood stealing from the wolf. Or like, you know, taking her power back from the wolf. Or something. I don't know. It's, you know, it's a weird way to interpret Seven of Swords, but I don't really know how I feel about it yet, but I think I like it. This one's interesting too, because it's like the vulture could either be about to help her by like biting through that rope, or that vulture could pull on it and hang her. I don't know. Is the vulture the bad guy? Or are these rats conspiring to push the box out from under her? Let's read the guidebook. Let's see what the guidebook says about the Eight of Swords. Because it does, this guidebook does actually like refer to the symbolism, which I love. A woman's body is bound and blindfolded. A noose attached to a tree branch above her falls loosely around her neck. A circle of 8 swords stuck into the ground forms a circle around her. She stands on top of a box while rats gnaw at the wood beneath her. Her time is running out. A vulture, sensing death, waits patiently. Okay. This card speaks to witch hunts, executions, and the demonization of the female. We often punish ourselves before others can. So this is an internalized misogyny kind of, which is kind of how that card reads for me and just generally, so that makes sense. Her ropes and noose are loose. She could wiggle herself free if she wanted. Her hands are loosely tied, if at all. The swords are within reaching distance. How did she arrive in this precarious position? What will she do next? This guidebook is great, guys. It really is. This Nine of Swords, I've talked about it before, but I really like it. It describes in the guidebook, these are kind of like 3 phases of anxiety. This is the beginning where you're first, you know, it hasn't hit you yet. You know, like these things are around you that you could feel anxious about, but they haven't penetrated yet. At this point is the moment of penetration. And then this is when you've been carrying that burden for a long time. So it's like, it's really interesting to me. And this is kind of how anxiety works, right? Like when you're young, nothing makes you anxious. You think you're invincible, but you start like kind of gathering experiences that have made you feel anxious in the past, and then you're scared of them happening again. So you're sort of like logging things in your body to feel anxious about in the future. And it's like you could potentially keep accumulating and accumulating and accumulating those swords and just like burdening yourself with it. Or you can like find a way out of it. I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety lately, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same. This has been a very anxious year. I think I'm just, as a personal note, I'm thinking about going back to therapy. I haven't been in a long time, and I think it's time. And I broke up with my last therapist, and not because I didn't think I needed it anymore. I mean, it's a big, long story, but I broke up with him because it just wasn't working for me anymore. So I'm like, right now I'm thinking about like, probably not till the beginning of next year, but I'm going to find a new therapist. So this is, anytime the Nine of Swords comes up for me recently, I'm like, yes, I know, I need to go back. I do. This Ten of Swords and Children of Litha is fucking brutal, isn't it? That poor, but it's the cycle of life too, you know? I mean, entrails, like, it's hard. It's hard. It's a difficult image to get through. This one is different though. Like she kind of looks like she's dancing with these swords, like she's kind of in some form of ecstasy. Even though I think we're supposed to see this as her laying on top of this jagged rock here, the depth is not super obvious. Like, so to me, I see her as levitating. So I really like this interpretation of Ten of Swords. I like thinking of her as levitating, as thinking of her as being liberated to a certain extent by what she's gone through. And she's like seconds away from pulling all those swords out of herself and just floating away. You know, she's ascending. Because of this Ten of Swords moment, she's ascending. I love it. There's that Page of Swords that was fighting the devil. Let's just pull it up. Why not? We're in-depth people today. So here she is. You can see that it's her. And it does mention that in the guidebook as well. Or else I don't know if I would have noticed. This Page of Swords and Children of Litha, though, is... holy fuck. This is like one of my favorite Page of Swords ever. I love that it's so clearly a male body presenting as completely female. I don't know. It's like the energy is totally 100% feminine, and it doesn't take away from it at all that it's a feminine energy in a male body. You know, it's just, I love it so much. This one's pretty cool too, though. I really like her. Both of these are difficult. I see dragons in a more positive light than Alexandria Huntington portrays them in this particular deck. It's one of the only things that I don't love about this deck is just all of the dragon slaying. I mean, I get it. I get it in a fairy tale kind of deck that you would be slaying dragons as a knight. It makes sense, but it's just hard for me to see. And this guy, like, I don't know. I'm just not into it. Not into the Knights and Darkwood Tarot. Or the Kings. I guess I just don't enjoy the way that this particular artist portrays men. Which is a sensitive topic for me, as you guys might know if you've seen my videos before. So that's really just me, though, for the most part. I like her. I like the, can you see like the way that she colors? It's like, it's almost like it's watercolor or something, because there's like depth in the coloration. It's really interesting. I wonder if you can even tell that. She does that in a lot of the cards. I like that she has like a, what is that? What is that creature? Does it say in the guidebook? Let's look it up. Queen of Swords. Nope, doesn't say. What is that creature? Is it a vulture? Is it like a turkey vulture? Is it like an albino turkey vulture? Okay, I'm gonna call it an albino turkey vulture. Comment below if you know what type of animal that is, because I love it. Love the peacock energy here. Oh, we got another vulture there. I don't mind this king, actually, because he looks a little older. And his, like, and he's barefoot, like his garb isn't too fancy. Oh God, did you hear that? It is lunchtime, you guys. I need to stop babbling. All right, last suit, bitches. Look at her. Hell yeah. This is really cool because you see through the progression of the Pentacles, you see like the beginning of winter, like the snow's falling in these first couple of cards, and then you get like the dead of winter, and then you get sort of like the transition into spring. Like, I like it. I just like the passage. The passage of time is, for me, most evident in the Pentacles in general. Like, if you're asking time-related questions and you come up with a pentacle, to me that's sort of like, the Pentacles take their time. They do. So having a time element particularly poignant in the symbolism in the Pentacles as being like a particularly long winter that you're going through is just, it makes sense to me. Love this. Oh my God, I love it. This is the inside of the box too. Gorgeous. Like, you can't really see it, but it's gorgeous. And the pentacles are all portrayed by like apple halves in this deck. Love this like demonic tree vibe. The trees are particularly gorgeous and gnarly in this deck in general, but especially in the Pentacles. I like this card in Darkwood, but it's like the only card that is this simple in the entire deck. So it just like feels out of place. Even though I like it, it feels out of place. And it's like the only card in the whole deck that has a lot of literal black. Like, this card has more color saturation than any other card. It just feels like an outlier in this deck. I think this particular deck, sometimes I think that artists rush through the Pentacles, like they're doing them in order or something. Like, they probably do like wands, then cups, then swords. Sometimes it feels like the Pentacles are rushed through, and I think this particular deck Darkwood might be suffering from that a little bit. I mean, it's not bad, but maybe a little bit. I hate it when artists feel rushed. This card has like something sticky on it. What is that? Sometimes I put oil on my hands and then I touch cards, and it's not great. You shouldn't do it. This one's an interesting interpretation. Like, what even is happening here? To me, it looks like she's packing up her shit and she's leaving him behind. She's leaving her riches and she's leaving this douchebag. That's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like these people are together. It looks like she's leaving him because he's her scarcity. She's leaving everything she knows because she's going to find abundance elsewhere. Love this one too. The sort of like dead of winter, we're gonna make it through vibe. Love it so much. Love deer. Deer energy anytime is always welcome. This is interesting to me too. This kind of looks like the dark side of the Justice card, doesn't it? Let's find that Justice card. I've got things all out of order now because I keep messing with them. Where did I put it? Okay, here we go. I don't know, just the fact that there's the two figures down below. Or this could be like the dark side of the Hierophant card in a traditional deck. Sort of like if you're being taught by someone that's just gonna steal your money and treat you like shit. Like this is a darker, this is not the way I would normally see Six of Pentacles. I love this, like sleeping with the pumpkins. This card makes me think, oh God, you guys, I think fall's coming. You know, we've had a couple of, like, where I live anyway, we've had a couple of cooler days where it's just like those first cooler days that happen in August or in September that make you think, oh yes, we are actually going to get fall again. It's going to cool off. Someday the relentless heat is going to abate. That's what this card reminds me of. I don't know why. It just does. They are a little, like, not in a bad way, but the pentacles seem like a little bit simpler in Darkwood. Just not as much going on in them. Sorry, my hands are a little shaky. It's lunchtime. It is so lunchtime. I don't even know what time it is. I've been doing this so long. I don't even know. Like the dragon vibes, dragon wings. This is great too. I love this. My phone might die at any minute too, so I should probably like rush through these last few cards. Okay. Love this Ten of Pentacles. There's a lot going on here actually, even though the color palette is very subdued and it's hard to tell at first. There's a cat mom and a kitten down here. There are two ravens or crows. There are two bats. There are two spider webs, although I don't see the actual spiders. It's gorgeous. This is totally Ten of Pentacles to me. It makes total sense to me. I love it. This deck, Darkwood, is actually like hitting me a little bit heavier than I thought it would. You know, I thought the imagery was beautiful when I bought it, but I had no idea how I was really gonna feel about it. And it packs a punch, you guys. I think this one might be a keeper. Really love that she's just like a tree person, and she's got dreads. Gorgeous. Not super into the court cards in the Pentacles of Children of Litha. I'm not sure why. This knight doesn't bug me. This is probably the only knight in this deck that I kind of like. And I like the owl. Oh my god. You guys. I like Poison Ivy is one of my archetypes that's like, it's important to me. And this is so Poison Ivy. I like that she is kind of like, she's kind of like a Witchblade Poison Ivy feel to me. And she's sort of like, either she is part of the tree, she's becoming part of the tree is reclaiming her as one of its own. She's entangled with the tree. And the fact that we still have the bunny. She's gorgeous too, though, honestly. She's Capricorn energy, so you got that ram there. But man, this is just everything to me. Oh my god, I love it. All right, there you go. There's the unfair comparison of Children of Litha and Dark Wood Tarot. I hope that you enjoyed this super long video. I definitely enjoyed making it, and it brought me life today. Thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.